Live from Kenneth P. LaValle Stadium, it's the Stony Brook men's soccer matchup, an evening game as they take on their Long Island rival, the Hofstra Pride. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Zach Wilson here giving you Stony Brook men's soccer action live on 90.1 FM, WUSB Stony Brook, the longtime home for Seawolves Athletics. And tonight, Stony Brook and Hofstra getting themselves set up for a nice little matchup as both of these teams are coming off of their first game of the season, a victory. For your Stony Brook Seawolves, the freshman Jonas Bickes, who is one of the starters for tonight's game, getting the crucial goal late in the second half against the LIU Sharks on Thursday in the 83rd minute of play. He's able to trot through past the Sharks, giving the Seawolves the 1-0 win, and Edmond Kaiser putting up a couple of saves. While for the Hofstra Pride, they're coming off of their first game of the season on the road, taking on the Rhode Island Rams. Pride got through with them, their shutout as well, capitalizing on one more goal, 2-0, from J.C. Ramirez and Storm Strongen. And it's going to be quite a nice primetime matchup to listen in on. We got ourselves the 16th all-time meeting, at very least in the D1, between the Seawolves and the Pride. Nearly even this game, that this series history is between the Seawolves and the Pride. Hofstra just barely owns that series in the D1, 7-6-2. Last time these two teams played against each other was during the shortened spring season just months ago. It was at Hofstra, and the Pride was able to get that win down big time, 4-1. Where the Pride has won 3 of the last 5 games against the Seawolves. So, let's get going to the starters. As we hear it over the PA, let's talk about it as well. For your goalie, you get Edmond Kaiser, the junior, who put up a couple of saves, was part of the 2020 America East All-Academic team, who started the first 6 games of the season before he could not play the rest due to injury. Then you get the midfielder, Corey Cupid. Then after him, the senior midfielder, Jack Valderabano. The senior midfielder, Trausti Bergison. Then you get number 10, the grad, Gabriel Fernandez. Number 11, the freshman forward, Jonas Bickes, who I just mentioned before. You get the sophomore forward, Saver Felkissen. That's number 15, sophomore defenseman, Iker Alvarado. Sophomore forward, number 19, Aki Solvasen. Junior defenseman, Sebastian Rojek. Sophomore forward, Selchuk Kalveci. And now for the Hofstra Pride. And for them in goalie today is number 1 sophomore, Wessel Spiel, who made a save in that 2-0 win against Rhode Island. And after him, you get the senior who plays midfield and defense, George O'Malley, one of the toughest players in the CAA, garnered that first-team all-conference selection back in the spring. You also get along with him Storm Strongen, the grad who plays midfield and defense as well, who got the second team. And along with him, you get Stefan Mason, the junior midfielder, started all 10 games in the spring. Rock Carls, who played 6 games in the spring, putting up 5 shots. Then you get the senior who plays forward in midfield, Hendrik Hebecker. Then moving on, you get freshman defenseman Mason Tatafu. Sophomore playing forward and defenseman Ryan Carmichael, third team All-CAA in the spring. Matthew Von Winkle, another tough player to watch out for the Pride, grad who plays forward. Just drafted in the 3rd round of the MLS Super Draft by FC Cincinnati. Then you get the grad who plays midfield, Francisco Peranelli, 2 seasons with Post in Connecticut. And last but not least, junior who plays defenseman, number 24, Shane Salmon. Started all 8 games played in the spring. So, both these teams just finishing up their starting lineups. The Seawolves led by their head coach in the 11th season, Ryan Anatol. 69, 78, 25 overall as head coach for the team. Was responsible for leading them to their last NCAA tournament appearance back in 2011. While for the Pride, they have their longtime head coach, Richard Nuttall, in his 33rd season, 9 wins away from achieving his 300th career win. Along with him, you get Stefan Roach, Sean Foster, and Adam Janowski. While for Anatol, he has his assistant coach in Dan Sheck. So, here at LaValle Stadium, quite a night to listen in on, or probably even watch if you prefer, but prefer to listen in as you can. Stony Brook and Hofstra in men's soccer, both of these teams gaining a little confidence in their first game of the season coming is a win, and they're looking to build momentum off of it, especially Stony Brook. After their last 2 seasons have not looked particularly pleasing in any way, including the spring where they only had 1 win. It was in the conference against NGIT, but this season opening win that they just had recently against LIU on Thursday will probably be some type of confidence booster and try and get them looking like that type of underdog in the America East, as they are projected to finish 8th in the preseason poll, just ahead of the Binghamton Bearcats, who are, of course, in last place. So, both teams getting set now, all their players set, their goalies in the net too, and we are ready to go. Stony Brook, Hofstra men's soccer, live from Kenneth T. LaValle Stadium on 90.1 FM WUSB Stony Brook, your longtime home for Stony Brook Seawolves Athletics. The Seawolves getting ready as they're the home team. They'll have the ball. They'll start off with the first kick of half number 1. And here we go. Starts off with Stony Brook with possession of the ball. A kick immediately by Valderrabano into Hofstra territory, and already goes out of bounds off of Stormstrongen, and the Seawolves will maintain it in Pride territory. So what's going to be a big matchup to see whether or not Stony Brook will have the ability to gain the edge against some really top-notch players from Hofstra who can make headway not just in their own conference, but maybe in the nation as well. Hofstra has produced players in the past that have really produced big numbers. So you get Burgessson, and we had a whistle. Looks like it was a penalty, a foul against Stony Brook. So Hofstra will have possession and be in Stony Brook territory. Stormstrongen going to his back for O'Malley. O'Malley has a brother on this team as well who is not started right now. He's Jack O'Malley, who redshirted during the spring season. So along the right side, Hofstra trying to maintain possession of the ball, getting it along the far right side of the field. Stony Brook getting to maintain is Corey Cupid. That's kicking it right near midfield and headbutted Perinelli to keep it in the Stony Brook zone, and tripped Corey Cupid did on Stormstrongen, and there'll be another whistle, another foul on Stony Brook. So already a couple of fouls in just over a minute to begin this game. We'll see how both teams look to go aggressive. Both teams having their goalies stand out pretty well in their first game of the season. We'll see whether or not either one of their squads at least 90 minutes of a shutout so far. So Stormstrongen will go with a free kick, just about 15 yards away from the net from the far right side. He'll kick it right near Kaiser, and a footed chance by one of the Pride couldn't get a good angle on it, and Stony Brook about to clear it away. And one of them was able to get away from Strongen. Hofstra still with possession, kicked by Stefan Mason right near the net, but then headed away by one of the Seawolves. And then a far right through the uprights, Francisco Perinelli. And now he's going for a little chance to be a field goal kicker. Well, yesterday when I broadcasted women's soccer, I probably saw one of the players from Columbia who pretty much pulled out the same thing, getting a kick of the ball right through the uprights. And we'll probably see enough of that on Thursday when the first college football game of the season for Stony Brook will come. We'll give you a little more insight to that later. So meanwhile, Edmond Kaiser getting ready for his goal kick after it went out of bounds. Kicking along the far right side, right at midfield. And Hofstra trying to work with it. They are in blue with numbers white. No last names in the back of their jerseys. Ball is kicked into Stony Brook territory, and a foul is called on the Pride. So fielded down. It'll be... Looks like we got Sebastian Rojek, who will kick it far into Hofstra territory. A nice little kick. It goes right to the heads of one of the Seawolves, and Fernandez heads it along the right side. One of his teammates there to try and get it, but he is getting double-teamed and stolen away by Hebecker. Hebecker able to kick it a good boot. He's running left, trying to get it to the right for Strongen, but it was just far away from him. He could not get a clear angle to try and get a shot on goal. And it'll go from the go from the right side, but kicked away out of bounds by Corey Cupid. It was close to being on the left side of the right corner of the field, but it'll still be an inbound throw regardless. Both teams trying to get a little antsy here. Very close for Hofstra. They have a shot so far. It'll be an inbound by Mason, going right to the net, and just off of the head, it looked like a Corey Cupid goes right over to Kaiser. So it looked like that may have been Cupid's plan to try and get there safely to Kaiser. Of course, any misplays, and that probably would have ended up being a Hofstra goal. You don't want an own goal. That's just not going to look good. And a far good kick just across midfield right into Stony Brook territory. Valderrabero able to kick it right near to Fernandez, and trying to get there close enough, he was unable to, and a whistle called. One of the Pride players is down, Rock Carls. He's still waiting to get up. He is sitting up, but it looks like he is in some pain. Gabriel Fernandez was just pretty close before to try and getting a kick away from Wessel Spiel. Spiel, the sophomore from the Netherlands, was part of the All-Championship team back in the spring. He started all 10 games for the Pride, posting 1.21 goals allowed per game and 43 total saves. So Carlos was able to get back up on his feet. It looks like he's going to stay in the game. Looks like he just got the wind knocked out of him. So Spiel will kick it over to O'Malley. O'Malley, one of his defensemen. He'll kick it over to his right for Carls. Carls back over to O'Malley. O'Malley spotting Mason to his right, on the far right side, right near midfield. Trying to get past the Stony Brook double team. Gets a kick right into Stony Brook territory. Off the chest of one of the Pride players. And going over far to the right now in Stony Brook territory. Strong in. Trying to get a kick and then kicked away by Kavechi. And then it goes over to the far left side now. It's Tatafu. And it'll be just kicked behind, back into Hofstra territory momentarily, right to O'Malley. He gets it back to Mason. Mason back to his back now for O'Malley. He's got a good kick into Stony Brook territory. Then headed by Alvarado. It goes right over to Bickus, the hero from Thursday. He lets the ball go right back into Hofstra territory momentarily. Then the ball is still being played around right at midfield. Midway through, just over 5 minutes gone by. 39:30 to go in the first half. Scoreless between the Seawolves and the Pride. A header along the far right side of the field. Strong in, trying to get the kick, and it goes right over to Burgesson. Burgesson now getting Stony Brook with control. It'll be Valderrabero trying to get the kick far right to one of his teammates. It looks like Alvarado, but goes right near Hofstra, and it's forced out of bounds by Stony Brook. So, Pride will have possession. Right near midfield. Long game out from the far left side. We're starting to get a little sun showing. Good weather, similar to yesterday, just a little hotter, but doesn't seem to be too much of a problem so far for either side. Stefan Mason right inside Stony Brook territory near midfield, along the right side near the sidelines. He'll kick it back to his left to Perinelli. Perinelli trying to get a long kick. He was trying to find Rock Carls, but he couldn't get there in time, and once again we have another injury on Hofstra. This time it's on Francisco Perinelli. He was momentarily down, but he immediately gets back up. Just about 6 minutes into this game, looks like we're already seeing a couple of injuries on Hofstra's end. And that injury looks like it's a Stony Brook penalty. So, it'll be a free kick for the Pride coming up. Clock stops at 38:37. So we just got into 6.5 minutes of this one. Stefan Mason from the right side. He'll get ready for the free kick. He's going to try and get a booter into Kaiser, but Kaiser easily spotting that one well, making his catch. Edmond Kaiser has been really getting a good read on all the balls that have been coming his way so far in the first 2 games of the season. For LIU, there were 2 shots on goal on Thursday here at LaValle Stadium, so it didn't need to be too much of work for Kaiser. Only needed to make a couple of saves in order to ensure that Stony Brook would get their 1-0 win. So after the goal kick, Gabriel Fernandez keeping it at midfield where Alvarado is kicking it right into Hofstra territory. And then headed away by O'Malley. O'Malley where it goes right to one of the Seals. Alvarado keeping it in Stony Brook territory. Going along the far left side now is a contest for the ball. And Burgesson getting it right over around midfield. Now it goes back into Hofstra territory. Then kicked away by O'Malley out of bounds. Right near the scorer's table. It'll be another inbound. Burgesson going to do a long one right near the net. It's going to go right over to Kavechi. Kavechi trying to maintain it. He gets it back to Burgesson. Burgesson to midfield. Going over to Corey Cupid. Didn't look like a clean pass, but clean kick over to him, but he does maintain control. Back over to Kavechi. Kavechi right into Hofstra territory. Headed away by one of the Pride players. Goes out of bounds. It was a chase nearly by Becker to try and keep it in Hofstra possession, but it'll be Stony Brook that will do the inbound pass in the opponent's zone. as they work it along the right side. It's a lot of action, some contact, and there is a foul right there on Stony Brook. Francisco Perinelli once again brought down. Foul's called on Aki Solvason, sophomore from Iceland. It's part of the second team all-conference for Stony Brook in the America East during the spring, and was part of the America East all-rookie team. We're seeing some freshmen getting some starts today, along with Jonas Bickus for Stony Brook. See other freshmen who has some promising looks in their future, like Mason Tadafu. Meanwhile, ball's at midfield, and it's controlled well by Kavechi, and kicked out of bounds. We have another whistle. I think Hofstra wanted another penalty on Stony Brook, but Stefan Mason is not going to get it. Looks like incidental contact on both Kavechi and Mason. It'll be another inbound throw coming up. This time it'll be from Corey Cupid. Corey Cupid right at midfield. He's actually going to kick it. It's a free kick. Must have been a penalty instead on Hofstra. So in the far left corner now, Stony Brook has it in Hofstra territory. Trying to work out the Pride's defense. Neither side has yet to give up a goal this season. And a goal kick up coming after after Kavechi, who wears number 23 for Stony Brook. Just kicked it out of bounds along the left side of the net. Jack Nuttall, one of their entertaining relation right there to Richard Nuttall. Could be the father, could be the grandfather, could be either one. Meanwhile, you get left side. It's going to be an inside look for Solvason. You almost had a chance of trying, but Hofstra able to work with their defense quickly. And we have... No, it looked like there was contact. One of the Seawolves fell down right inside the penalty box, but no foul was called. And that could have been very close to a penalty kick for Stony Brook. It looks like Solvason was just right within his reach to try and go for it, but he may have been contacted hard. Questionable call. We'll see how this plays out. Meanwhile, George O'Malley kicking it deep into Stony Brook territory. Booted down, but then fielded by one of the Seawolves. Trying to maintain control. A nice booter. And right in here, Storm Strongen from the left side goes to the right side of the net. Another goal kick coming up. 34-26 to go in the first half. Still scoreless between the Seawolves and the Pride after both teams picking up a shutout win against their first opponent of the season. Stony Brook, it was pretty close. Hofstra, not too close. Meanwhile, Stony Brook starting to work in Hofstra territory. You get Kavechi going to the far right side. He finds Valdera Barrow and headed away by Rock Carls. Away from the net. It was inside the penalty box for a second, and now it looks like Hofstra has a chance to catch Stony Brook napping, but Corey Cupid says no right when the ball was at midfield. And he's got some great looks defensively. This grad has it. And meanwhile, ball's once again kicked into Hofstra territory. It looks like Alvaro working it from the right corner. Might trying to set up a play. It goes off. And after the kick by Valderabano, goes off of one of the Pride players and out of bounds. In the left side of the left corner, of the right corner, so it looks like we got ourselves a corner kick.
It's a Seawolves corner kick.
Very interesting how you hear that much fun and anticipation when it's a corner kick coming up. It'll be from the right side, and it'll be Valderabano who will do it. Kick right in front of the net, nearly headed by one of the Seawolves, but at the last second, not. And then stolen away by the Pride, working their defense again, trying to catch the Seawolves napping. And it looks like we got probably another whistle coming up. And another Hofstra player who is slow to get up. Talk about getting aggressive. It looks like Stony Brook's getting a little too aggressive with their foe tonight. That's already caused some Pride players to get banged up, even though it hasn't really kept them out of the game so far. It's quite an amusing sight to see. When you get these cross-island rivals, you'll have some fun. We called one just over a week ago between Stony Brook and Hofstra. Meanwhile, ball's in Stony Brook territory, but it's kicked away by Alvarado. And Hofstra still keeping it in the Stony Brook zone. Near Storm Strongen. And right at midfield, he'll just kick it right there. George O'Malley will do the booter. Trying to get it close to one of his teammates, and he does get it to Perinelli. Perinelli over the right side to Strongen. Strongen trying to get a kick, but it's headed away by Cupid. And it goes right over to Solvasen. Solvasen tried to maintain it. It just goes back over to Stefan Mason, back over to O'Malley. O'Malley has some strong defensive showing so far today. He's one of the best defensive players on the team, no doubt. Stefan Mason with the ball along the right side of the field, trying to get a kick, but headed away. That was Kavecki, who was the responsible culprit. Now he's trying to kick it away right near midfield, and he will. It was pretty close to one of his teammates in Jonas Bickus, but it will go out of bounds right at the Stony Brook sideline. 31-16 to go in the first half. Still scoreless between the Seawolves and the Pride. Score is zip, both sides. Ball once again going out of bounds off of Burgessson. It'll be Stefan Mason with the inbound throw once more, right near the right corner. You can tell both of these teams looked really strong defensively in their first game of the season, and they're proving why that first game playing defense was no joke. The long one by Mason, right over to O'Malley, and tried to get the kick. It was pushed away, and Kaiser tried to get his hands on it, but he couldn't maintain control. He was out of bounds from the right side of the net, so it will be a corner kick, the first one for the Pride today. So Storm Strongen will be working in from the right corner, trying to get a little kick in front of the net if he can, hoping that his Pride players will try and work on a shot on goal. He got the whistle. He's getting set up. Teammates set in motion, and it goes far left, a little too much. It was headed by one of the Pride players, but fielded away by Stony Brook. And a collision on both sides, so that was incidental contact. Went right to Strongen. The ball goes right back to Hagamalo, it looks like. A little more action, Hofstra playing with it. Keep away in Stony Brook zone. Right along the left side, the 30-yard line. The kick right near the net. And it goes right over to Burgessson. And just get a booming kick sky high right near midfield. Goes to the left side and kick and headed by Bickus. Bickus having it now in midfield, trying to get into Hofstra territory. And miscommunication between Bickus and Alvarado has the ball and go out of bounds. Hofstra will have it. And that was a little problematic right there. Probably one of the rare moments we have seen so far with soccer in miscommunication. And the pass inbound went intercepted and now controlled by Stony Brook. And it goes out of, looks like it's about to go out of bounds once again, but it looks like it's a fight between both sides. So Vossen and Strongen, actually Ramirez. Jason Ramirez, who also can play as well. He was responsible for one of the 2 goals in Hofstra's win against Rhode Island. Ball going right near the goalie, but was trying to get kicked away, and it looks like Iker Alvarado was trying to get away from the out of bounds, but even with his kick, could not do so. It'll be another corner kick upcoming for the Pride. Well, it looks like a little more time now for Hofstra being able to play the ball in Stony Brook territory. Stony Brook wants to try and do the same thing as well. Stony Brook still looking for their first shot at the very least of this game. They were very close to one before. So from the left side, it'll be a nice booming kick, but far right, and it goes right over to the Seawolves wall, and kicked away by Valderabano. Goes right over to Mason. Mason going to the far left, and once again headed by a Seawolf. Here we go again, another corner kick. It's all about being able to time the way the ball comes towards them, and they need to get their head against it at the right time. So here we go again. Strong game from the left corner. Still looking to try and use these corner kicks to get a goal, and from number 16, he cannot get there. Number 16 is Mason Tadafu. And contact, Jonas Bickus, and looks like he was responsible for initiating it, but refs say no. They say that Hofstra was the culprit, and that was inside the penalty box. If that was against Bickus, that could have been a penalty kick. But Stony Brook lucked out, and they'll have the goal kick upcoming for Kaiser. 27:08 to go in the first half. Score 0-0, Stony Brook, Hofstra. On the right side of the net, Kaiser will get a good kick. right over to the head of Bickus. And a nice little kick by Valderrama to get in Hofstra territory, and he'll get it off of Tadafu. Another quick inbound pass upcoming for Stony Brook. Looks like they'll just hold on for 1 second. Alvarado will get a nice one. It's going to go far away. I'm not sure what he was thinking about that inbound pass. He was hoping that one of his teammates would try and get probably a little touch of it. But it may not have been that essential. Wasn't a long goal kick for Spiel. George O'Malley will go over to his left now for Tadafu. Tadafu going right to the midfield to Copenhagen. Going right into Stony Brook's territory. Stefan Mason from the right side going in further. Trying to get there, but another nice little interception part on Kavechi. Hofstra still maintaining it as they're trying to get it down. Nice little kick, but Corey Cupid getting it away from the net in front when it was right in front of it. Fielded by Mason, then kicked away by Burgesson. And then you have Kavechi, who was double teamed, and the ball out of bounds off of Rock Carls. Goes back to Stony Brook. So despite the way both teams have been playing tough, how they got jiggy within their first game of the season as a foul is called. It was drawn by Bickus. It'll go back into Hofstra zone, and Stony Brook will have a free kick coming up. Both of these teams playing well, as we've seen a little more of Hofstra having more time in the Stony Brook zone than Stony Brook and Hofstra. But score remains that, just nothing. This is where both defenses will be tested today. Burgesson tried to get a kick up out of it, but he was able to force it out of bounds off of Stefan Mason after he got it from Corey Cupid. After this, the Seawolves will take the road for a game they'll play against the Drexel Dragons in Philadelphia on Friday at 6 o'clock. And after a kick, it went off of Solveson. Tried to get a little bit of a foot on it. Just going to get a good angle. Once again, out of bounds along the left side of the net. It was a goal kick, but Spiel once again does not decide to go far. He'll just have his teammates field it in their own zone, playing a little defense. George O'Malley kicking it to the far right in midfield to Mason. Mason preparing for a kick. He's able to get a good one into Stony Brook zone, but then Corey Cupid there to field it. He's able to get it away from Becker. Becker over to Burgesson. Burgesson got it intercepted by over to number 11 again. A little spin move off of Becker, but he couldn't get it past Stony Brook's defense. Now Jonas Bickus getting it away. Has Fernandez with it. Fernandez being able to kick it. Almost had a chance for number 19, who could have had a breakaway opportunity. Hofstra still able to keep it in Stony Brook zone. Number 19 is Solvason. Now it goes along the far left side. Hofstra. You see a little 2-on-2. And a nice little bouncer between both sides. Stony Brook's trying to say that it was last touched by Hofstra, and they win that battle. 23:35 left to go now in the first half. It's still scoreless. When it's soccer, when both sides are pretty evenly matched and good with defense, you'll probably see these as clean sheets. Both sides being able to do very well in their clean sheets. As I said, Stony Brook playing at Drexel, and it looks like Strong was able to break the ankles of one of the Seawolves as they go along the far right side. Carls has one of his teammates, but he'll just keep it himself. He gets it over to Mason and along the far right side, right near the right corner, getting a high kick, trying to get headed, doesn't get there. Stony Brook able to try and keep it away. And number 11 tried to kick one, couldn't get it past. That was a Becker who tried to get there. And then along the right side, kicked out of bounds. Strongen tried to get there. He could not get it past Jonas Bickus.
Corner kick.
So there'll be another corner kick upcoming. Stony Brook player that wears number 17 doesn't show up in the roster. Trying to figure out who that will be. So from the left corner, it'll be Strongen. Trying to kick it, and goes far right. Looked like it tried to be a header by Mason Tadafu, but couldn't get a good angle. Looked pretty close, but not close enough. Another goal kick upcoming. So both sides playing defense well. It's been Stony Brook that have that's been having to play more defense today than Hofstra has. And so far, so good for them. All the reason why they were able to get past LIU in their season opening win. It's all the reason why Stony Brook wants to do better this season after the last 2 seasons have not ended pretty well for them. Missing the America East tournament, have not looked successful since they were the top seed back in 2018. Stony Brook with possession, able to get a good kick. And it looks like it'll be Jonas Bickus who has a chance to go from the left side. Trying to work it past Hofstra's defense. Trying to look a little spin move. He does so. And put it away by one of the Pride, but still stays with Stony Brook for the time being. Burgesston tried to get there, but O'Malley able to cleanly get it away. Nearly a breakaway opportunity for Jonas Bickus had he been able to have much more speed to get it past Hofstra's defense long enough. But now Ryan Carmichael going over to the right side for a Becker. He tried to get it back to Carmichael, but nobody there but a Seawolf. Burgesston getting over to Solvasen. Solvasen goes over back into Hofstra territory where it's fielded by O'Malley. George O'Malley it is. You got George, you got Jack. When I say O'Malley today, it's probably going to be more of George than Jack. Because George is a big starter. It's Stony Brook and Gabriel Fernandez before it goes out of bounds, able to save it. But there Urbano will get it back over to Kaiser. Cavechi. Fernandez still working with it. Getting back into Stony Brook's zone where Burgesston is trying to work on his fielding. Could be looking for a chance to kick it eventually into Hofstra territory. But then Stony Brook would need a plan to play offense right after that. And then Cavechi getting it right in here to net, where it's nearly fielded between O'Malley and Solvasen. And O'Malley will just kick it out of bounds along the far left side, just about 20 yards away. The Horn, our first substitution of this game.
Stony Brook substitution.
Sean Towie.
Number 25, Sean Towie.
Towie.
For number 17, Savar Filkison.
So number 17 is Savar Filkison.
Cameron Blaze. And for number 6, Jack Valderrabano.
So we'll see what Blaze and Towie have in store in their first minutes of this game. The inbound going right to Bickus. Bickus going to kick it from the left side, and it goes right into the arms of Spiel. And that's one of the first times today that he had to get a little bit of a hand on that. Strongen will get it back to Hofstra, where there's not really many Seawolves in sight, giving them all the time they need to play defense. O'Malley back to Mason along the far right side, right near midfield. He kicks it right into Stony Brook territory. Corey Cupid chasing it. He gets his chest on it, trying to kick it towards his teammates right in front of the net, which he does. And a kick by Blaze. He's able to get the header over to Solvasen. Solvasen trying to fight for where it goes. And it goes right over to Perinelli. Perinelli now will kick it over the far right side back to Mason. Mason playing a lot of time along the right side of the field today. 18:48 to go in the first half. Still scoreless between the Seawolves and the Pride. Still 0-0. And it looks like we may have a tripping. And it looks like that will be the culprit. Cameron Blaze fell down. He was tripped by one of the Pride players. It'll be an upcoming free kick for the Seawolves. So we're starting to see a little more action for the Seawolves in Hofstra territory, and this is what they want more of. Jonas Bickus trying to get there, but could not get past Tadafu. There's the ball going on the right side out of bounds. Stony Brook with the long inbound coming up. Both sides playing defense well, trying to get through as much offense as they can. Starting to see Stony Brook starting to pick up a little more slack now. And Ryan Anatol trying to see whether or not his team can continue to pick it up. Inbound right near Blaze, but then Hofstra is able to get possession of it. That's Strongen. Will pass it back over to Salmon. Now George O'Malley will have it right in front of his own goalie. Oh, it goes to the far right now for Mason. And now kick into Stony Brook territory. Cupid getting there, and he'll just let Edmond Kaiser dive down to make the catch. Edmond Kaiser. 8 saves against Penn State in 2018, even though Stony Brook was severely defeated in that game. Really tested his defense. Richardson getting it over to Cavechi. It goes right to Blaze. And Blaze got grabbed. I could see it as clear as day. And that was on Francisco Perinelli, who was called for grabbing the back collar of Cameron Blaze. To me, that should be a big no-no. I mean, really, that's really in football. You probably may as well call that horse collar tackle as well. I mean, football, soccer, depends on what type of country you're talking about, probably. Because some countries will call soccer football. Meanwhile, it goes right deep into Hofstra territory. Cameron Blaze trying to get a little good field in it, right near the right corner. Gets it right back to Kavecki. Kavecki trying to get a kick on that, and it goes off of the hands of Spiel. And what an impressive shot on goal. Goal for Burgesson. He really tried to dig down that. Actually, Kavecki. And that will lead to a Stony Brook corner kick.
And that's a Seawolves corner kick.
That's the type of offense that I'm sure Ryan Anatol is looking for more of out of his squad today. Seeing much more of this offense, he probably would have wanted more in this first half. Here we go from Burgesson, trying to get that corner kick down, and goes just far up high. Very close. Almost a goal right there that would have broken this. Would have broken the scoring drought.
Jason Ramirez in for number 11, Hendrik Hebeker.
So Hebeker coming out. Jason Ramirez checking in. 15 and a half minutes left to go in the first half. Stony Brook 0, Hofstra 0. See whether or not both of these teams will eventually break that scoring drought. But both teams playing defense well. They've had some opportunities recently on offense to try and capitalize on some goals. Stony Brook probably one of their first shots on goal as of late. Jojo O'Malley is going to kick it deep into Stony Brook zone. And then Corby Cupid that's tailing at this time. Towie trying to get there. Fight for the ball goes out of bounds along the left side of the net. And it was last touched by the Pride. It was last touched by Strongen. It'll be another goal kick for the Seawolves. Towie and Strongen really trying to go at each other like that. Meanwhile, the goal kick goes right to Cameron Blaze, keeping it from going out of bounds. And O'Malley will have possession as he just kicks it back over to Spiel. Spiel will get it ready. He'll just kick it lightly to his left. So find Ramirez. Ramirez going along the far left side. Looks like we're hearing some drums. If I didn't know any better, I'd say we're probably also in the middle of a marching band practice. Some mute. We'll probably have some good marching band action to hear on Thursday as well. Marching band being able to play pep band for the first time in a very long time. Meanwhile, Jonas Bickus keeping that ball from entering Stony Brook zone very soon. It'll be another inbound pass for the Pride. Spiel has it. He'll just get it back to O'Malley. O'Malley looks good defensively. Stefan Mason trying to keep it. He'll just go back over to O'Malley. O'Malley right near midfield. He'll just figure it out against Blaze, going back over to his left. O'Malley still playing keep away with it. Been holding onto the ball for quite a while. Now he'll kick it deep into Stony Brook zone. It looked like contact was initiated by one of the Seawolves, and it was. Foul was called on Alvarado. So it'll be a free kick for the Pride. This game's pretty much fast moving. We started about 40 minutes ago, and we're just about 13 minutes away from halftime. Where both teams are still looking to find a way to get a goal. Kaiser has yet to record a save. He did not need one yet, despite all the catches that he's made. And for Spiel, he has one so far. Probably off of the Kavecki shot on goal. Strongen will work the free kick from the left side of the net, just about 25 yards away. He'll kick it cleanly right to the net, and Kaiser there to make a quick catch. There weren't any Hofstra players near Kaiser that would have tried to challenge him for that goal. It was easy enough for him to make another one that doesn't really go down as a save, but still, you always want to do your best. Meanwhile, Jonas Bickus now has control. Stony Brook starting to work with it in Hofstra's territory. He's trying to get a little good one. And it goes off with Stefan Mason. We'll see whether or not he just lets it go. No, Burgesson will actually still work on it. And Burgesson is able to draw tripping on Ramirez from the left corner. Just a few yards away from the penalty zone. Who knows that the drum, maybe the drum line will probably add a little drama to this game. Like hearing music and events, I'm sure everybody does. So Burgess from the far left side of the field near the left corner. It's actually not going to be he's not going to be the one to do it. It'll be Blaze. Actually, Fernandez. Gabriel Fernandez will work with a free kick. We'll see if he can try and find one of his teammates to try and do something. But before he does, refs blow a whistle. They're probably just trying to set everybody up perfectly. Hofstra stays on the road after this. It goes off, and with the free kick, it goes off of one of the Pride. It goes over back to Cavetti. Cavetti trying to take a deep kick, and it looks like Corey Cupid dove. I'm not sure why. Maybe he fell down of his own accord. And that will allow Spiel to capture the ball. After this game, Stony Brook hits the road on Friday. They'll take on the Drexel Dragons in Philadelphia at 6 o'clock. While for the Pride, they continue their 4-game road trip. It'll be the third of it, going against the LIU Sharks in Brookville. That will be September 8th. So it looks like the Pride will have 10 days to work with a little practice. Hofstra is projected to finish third in the CAA this season just before a little action in Stony Brook zone. Carmichael tried to get a good shot, but it was just far left and out of bounds. And the goal kick for Stony Brook. CAA has a preseason all-conference team. Three Hofstra players made it. Matthew Van Winkle, Storm Strongen, and George O'Malley. However, we have not really seen much of Van Winkle getting the action in so far today. Usually with his type of caliber, you imagine that he would. He started all 10 games in the spring and was first team all-conference back in the spring. The only explanation at this rate for somebody as tough as him would be that he is hurt. Actually, I do see his numbers, so maybe he's not really getting the ball as much as he wanted to so far today. So Francisco Parinelli just gets the ball back into the Hofstra zone, where defense tries to work it again. Malley to Mason. Hearing that a lot so far. And here's nothing new. Jason Ramirez. Stefan Mason over back into the Hofstra zone to O'Malley. Kicking it well left, finding Tadafu. Tadafu in Stony Brook zone, getting it far left now. He's finding Vawinkle. Back over to Tadafu. Tadafu, he'll just kick it to his right, finding Parinelli near midfield. To his right, he'll go far inward to Mason. Mason over to Ramirez, right near the boundary line. He'll work with a good kick, and then kicked away. Deflected well by Corey Cupid, and Kaiser tried to make the save, but he could not. Kaiser looking for an explanation, because it looked like he was, when he tried to make the catch of the ball, he may have been pushed from behind inadvertently. Usually that would mean that Hofstra would be responsible and they would be called for whether or not to go off of them when the ball goes out of bounds. But either way, it'll be another corner kick coming up. Looks like Kaiser's only fault so far is that he's trying to make clean catches. Storm Strongen will do the corner kick for Hofstra from the right. 8:38 left to go. Stony Brook and Hofstra, still nothing in goals. See whether or not this carries into the second half. Strongen getting a good boot and goes off the head of Corey Cupid away. And then Jason Ramirez working it from the left side, finding to his right Tadafu. But then it worked with control. Cameron Blaze, he's able to draw the foul before the ball went out of bounds. Nice little quick thinking from Cameron Blaze right there. Cameron Blaze, junior forward. He had one start in 8 games in the spring. He made his first collegiate goal against NGIT, but redshirted in 2019. He's a local from Coram. We'll see whether or not he can use his height advantage as well. He's 5'11". Kaiser getting a good boot into Hofstra zone, but then goes out of bounds along the far right side. And then an inbound. Goes right over to the head of Alvarado. And then it goes back over to the left side for Hofstra, where number 24 was able to save it. Now Ramirez trying to tail it down. Both teams falling down. Ramirez trying to save it. He worked on a little spinner. And we have a tripping on Stony Brook. And looks like here we go. It's time. And Hofstra is going to get a penalty kick. Because it looked like Jason Ramirez getting some good angles against Sebastian Rocek. He was able to get up first. He may have also been able to break the ankles of one of the Seawolves as well. This is not what you want if you're Stony Brook. Although, hard to tell whether not, I need to follow up more on the rules. Because it didn't look like he was making any motion to try and get a shot on goal. But either way, we do have this is going to be a penalty kick. It's Stefan Mason that will try and do it. Hofstra's chance here to get on the board first. 6:40 to go in the first half. Let's see what Kaiser can try and do here. Mason going to kick it on the left side, and he gets it past Kaiser, and Hofstra scores first. Kaiser was right on target, but was just a little too late to try and make a move on the ball. He was, while his right hand was still on there, was still in the air, the ball just went right through him. So Hofstra is able to score first. Stony Brook giving up their first goal of the season. 6:28 to go in the first half. It was a detrimental error on Stony Brook's part, committing a foul inside the penalty area, and that's not what you want to do. So as we resume action, Stony Brook trying to play the ball in Hofstra's zone. Fernandez trying to keep it there. Mason kicking it away. Mason getting his first goal of the season after he didn't get one, after he wasn't one of the two that got it against Rhode Island. Gabe Fernandez was able to try to get a field on it, but he fell down and could not pick it up cleanly. And now we have Winkle trying to work inside the Stony Brook zone. And a kick from the right goes over to Ramirez and then kicked out of bounds by Burgesson. Another Hofstra corner kick.
Hofstra corner kick.
And it looks like Stony Brook's may starting to have a little trouble with their defense. Trying to find a little better angle and being able to play what they want. They have one shot on goal so far. That was off of Cavetti. That was the save made by Spiel, who was able to deflect it out of bounds. So here we go again with Strongen from the right corner on a corner kick. He'll kick it towards the net. It goes off of the head of one of the Pride, but it went towards the net and went too high. It'll be a goal kick for Stony Brook, able to get themselves bailed out right there. And so we have a couple of substitutions more for the Pride.
Substitution. Number 6, Joe Wright, in for number 10, Rock Carls. And number 19, Laritas Hivika Rubeck, in for number 21, Matthew Vawinkle.
And Kaiser will go for the goal kick right at midfield. It went off with the head of Towie. And it goes right over to Blaze. Blaze trying to use his speed. Can he get there? He does have it momentarily. Then Stefan Mason able to get it right over to Kaiser, over to Spiel. Cameron Blaze awfully close to a breakaway that would have probably given him a chance to equalize this game. It looked like one of the Pride players being able to swoop in at the last second to prevent that. So Hofstra playing defense again, but doing most of this throughout the rest so far tonight. A deep kick into Stony Brook zone. Nothing but Seawolves in that vicinity. Ball going right over to Kaiser. Kaiser will just give it over to Cupid. Ramirez trying to chase him. He'll just go back over to his right. Goes over to 21, who will get a good kick into midfield and headed away by one of the Seawolves. Goes right to Ramirez. Ramirez getting a little action. It goes to the far left, trying to being kept in play. It goes across the net and along the right side where Burgesson's trying to work with it. He's got a good looking angle, trying to keep with it, and a head ball off of Rabeck goes right to Kaiser. Go over to the right, kicked by Silvasen into Hofstra zone and out of bounds. 3:22 left to go. Hofstra 1, Stony Brook 0. Zach Wilson giving you Stony Brook men's soccer action live on 90.1 FM. WUSB Stony Brook, the longtime home for Seawolves Athletics. And we're getting ourselves quite the feeling to give you soccer on the radio once more. So action's still working on, and we have a whistle. Looks like it's going to be a foul called on the Pride. And we'll see if Stony Brook has a chance to try and get an equalizer before halftime. Even if they don't, there's still a lot of game to be played. Stony Brook has some chances offensively so far tonight, but they need to finish it off. They've been very close, especially most recently when Cameron Blaze had a chance to work on a breakaway Meanwhile, it goes right to Burgesson in the left corner, deep in Hofstra's zone. He'll kick it to the far right side, where one of his teammates awaits for it. That's Towie. And we have offsides called. From the angle where Burgesson kicked it right across the net, and to Towie on the right side of the field. Looked like that indicated a way that you can't do it, especially when you're that deep in your opponent's zone. We're approaching the 2-minute mark. O'Malley getting on to his left for Tadafu. Tadafu playing keep away with Salmon. Salmon playing defense as well. Haven't seen his name called that much because he usually plays a little more on the left side. Meanwhile, you got Carls trying to work against Stony Brook's double team. Trying to get out of there, he'll just move it backwards. Goes over to Spallinelli. Goes to Ramirez, the far right. May work on trying to get an assist down here if he can. He'll get over to the right, and it goes off of Kaiser, and he'll eventually be able to make the catch. And that was right before Rabeck had his chance to try and get a kick. Close shave right there for Stony Brook again. They don't want this game to get out of their hands. The fact that it's still 1-0 means there's still a chance, even if we are getting closer to halftime. Jonas Bickus, he had some late game heroics in him. Let's see if he can do it again. Meanwhile, he falls down, draws a foul. It was a little slow to get up, but he's okay now. Here we go again. Free kick.
Remaining in the half.
Here in the PA, that is our pretty much our very own Heath Kalb. Meanwhile, the free kick going right to Fernandez, right in front of them, and we have a whistle called. Fernandez was trying to go for the ball, but because of his contact with Spiel, the refs weighed off any other action that could have happened afterwards. Very unfortunate for Fernandez. He was right in there within his reach to try and tie this game. And with 23 seconds left to go. Refs blowing another whistle again. Not sure what they're trying to do here. They're trying to let this wind down to the rest of the first half. The clock does stop at 14 seconds, and they call it back because it has to be Spiel that once again needs to take possession of the ball.
10, 9, 8,
Spiel.
7, 6,
They'll kick it over to
5,
midfield, right into Stony Brook territory.
3, 2,
Goes off of Carls,
1,
kicked away by
0.
Burgesson, right to midfield, and that will do it for the first half. So after pretty fun action from both sides,
That's the end of the first
defense
half.
showing, and then eventually a penalty kick that the Pride was able to capitalize off of, thanks to Stefan Mason and the penalty foul and the penalty drawn by Jason Ramirez. Hofstra with an early 1-0 lead. So far, Stony Brook has 3 shots. Hofstra has 5. The Seawolves with 1 shot on goal, and the Pride with 2 of them. Seen some saves so far. Spiel with 1. Same goes for Kaiser, but Kaiser had another one come his way, and he just couldn't get there quick enough to try and at least get his hands on it. Well, the corner kicks have been dominated by Hofstra so far, 6-2. So we'll see whether or not Anatol has a chance for his squad to try and get back into this game in the second half. They're looking to try and equalize at the very least. Thank you very much, Matt. And we're back at LaValle Stadium. We're just about a minute and 10 away from the beginning of the second half. It was a very enticing 45 minutes of action between the Stony Brook Seawolves and the Hofstra Pride, but the Pride getting a penalty kick off of the foul from the Seawolves that Jason Ramirez was able to draw, and Stefan Mason being able to punch the ball into the net just past Edmond Kaiser, and that breaks up the defensive streak that Stony Brook has had in not allowing any goals so far. And that makes Hofstra the team that has not yet allowed any goals at all this season as of yet. It is just their second game of the season, but their defense has been looking pretty tough to conquer so far, and yet Stony Brook has had some opportunities to get off of it recently. And just getting it past George O'Malley is one of the important things that they can hope for. You've already seen how Stony Brook in women's between the Seawolves and the Pride in that game. It's pretty much tough for Stony Brook to get past, and they ended up losing 5-1. And before you make any assumptions about the women's soccer team this year, this Hofstra team is turning out to be a team that should not be underestimated in any way. Last night, they went to Happy Valley to take on the Penn State Nittany Lions, who are ranked 7th in the nation and projected to finish atop the Big Ten. And finishing atop the Big Ten is a pretty big deal in many sports, whether it includes football, basketball, lacrosse, baseball, you name it. And Hofstra pretty much drove Penn State to the brink. All goals happened in the first half. Penn State narrowly won 2-1. Hofstra returned everybody that season, so when you see a team like Hofstra being able to force a top 10 team to have to work hard, you can imagine that Stony Brook getting that experience off of it. Well, who knows what will come in store for them next. We'll try and keep working with them throughout most of the season as much as we can, but focus back to men's. We're coming off of a 1-0 win to begin their season here at LaValle Stadium against the LIU Sharks, the type of win that Ryan Anatol and his team were hoping to look for after their last 2 seasons have been somewhat unproductive, as they have not really looked like the sharp team that they have been when they were in 2018 hosting the America East Tournament, but then falling in the semifinals. But we'll see what they got in store before conference play for them begins. Their first conference game of the season is going to be here at LaValle on September 18th when they host the Vermont Catamounts. While for the Pride, their first conference game of the season is on 9/11. It will be at Northeastern, where they take on the Huskies in the Northeast. So, second half about to get underway. Both teams are changing sides. Stony Brook today in your uniforms, they are white top to bottom with red names and numbers. And as mentioned before with Hofstra, if you did not hear me before, they are wearing blue top to bottom, white with the numbers and the names. So Stony Brook will once again get the first kick to begin half number 2. Looking to try and get an equalizer before Hofstra has a chance to get their second goal of the game if they can. If Stony Brook's able to get a goal, that could be pretty much big enough to try and contest against a tough team like the Pride, who is projected to finish 3rd in the CAA this season. The CAA, one of the most tough conferences, is a tough conference when it's not Power 5. In football, that's where Stony Brook is, and they'll begin conference play on Thursday to begin their season against New Hampshire Wildcats that have just taken a really big turn as their opponent, starting quarterback Max Brosmer, is out for the season due to a torn ACL that he suffered in practice. They'll have to force Brett Edwards to be a starting quarterback, and we'll see whether or not he has what it takes to take on the Seawolves. So actually it'll be Hofstra that will get the first kick, since both teams are trading sides. We're getting the first kick of each half. So the ball in Stony Brook territory. Cameron Blaze trying to get it out of there. He cannot. It'll be Carl, so I'll keep it there. And we have a foul already on Stony Brook. And immediately Jason Ramirez trying to use his speed. He's been getting a little tough in his action so far today. Strong trying to keep it in bounds on the right side, but he cannot. It goes just past him and out of bounds. So indeed what you are hearing out there in the background, that is the marching band practicing. And as I said before, we'll be hearing them on Thursday when they finally get their first action of their own in a long time. Probably the last time was back on March 10th in 2020 when the men's basketball team played the American East semifinals against the Hartford Hawks. That was the last time the band had any part in a Stony Brook game. So Corey Cupid with a long free kick going into Hofstra territory. And we have another whistle foul on Stony Brook. It'll be Hofstra that'll have the free kick. But O'Malley will say no to it. He'll just go to his left to Talafu. And then he'll go over to his left for Salmon. Salmon back to his right to Talafu. He'll go to his right for O'Malley, who we saw on the far left side of the field in the first half that we couldn't really due to our view. We'll be able to see now, including Shane Salmon, who now has possession along the far left side. He'll go to his left. He'll find Hebecker. And it goes out of bounds. Last touch by Cameron Blaze. Blaze starting to get a little more action here to begin half number 2. We'll see if that can help Stony Brook in any way. Still looking for their first goal of this game. It's a real tough fight for the ball. And contact drawn by Towie. And he'll be able to draw the penalty, the foul against the Pride. So it looks like it'll actually be somewhat of a goal kick since it happened inside the penalty area. Edmond Kaiser will do the boot. Gets a good run right to midfield, just in Stony Brook territory, then off the head of one of the Pride players to get it back into the Stony Brook zone. But then it goes out of bounds and off of the Seawolves. Salmon getting the inbound pass. Goes right to the head of Alvarado. Fernandez, he got tripped. And another foul. They figured with all these trips, there ought to be a penalty that'll call for something a little more than just simply Stony Brook getting it back. Well, I guess when you get a free kick, that'll probably be sufficient. Alvarado, kick right into Hofstra territory is a good one. It goes right over to the Pride players again. And Ramirez actually, he'll draw a foul as well. Off of Cavechi. Hofstra will have it far right side. Mason kicking it to the middle, right to Tadafu. Tadafu keeping it. He'll go to his right for O'Malley, who lost it, but it then goes back over to Mason. Right place for him. It was a wrong thing for O'Malley to do. One of his only hiccups probably of his career. O'Malley will kick a good booter right into Stony Brook zone off of the chest of one of the Pride. That is Vawinko. He's trying to keep it away from Blaze, and Blaze able to swoop in. Tried to do it again, and it was very close, but Pride still has it. Tadafu going back over to O'Malley in their own zone. He'll kick it deep again, trying to get it well, but eventually Stony Brook will have it. Alvarado trying to maintain it on the far left corner. He'll go right over to Ramirez. Fernandez trying to get there. He falls down. Ball goes out of bounds, and it goes back over to Stony Brook. Stony Brook wants to get out of their own territory and get a little more action in Hofstra territory. They don't want to be the ones on the receiving end. That is what led them to giving up a goal so far in this game. They're down 1-0, 4 minutes into the second half. Tadafu trying to keep it in the Stony Brook zone with a good boot. And looking on the far left side, kick by Alvarado, going right to midfield. Tadafu will field it. He'll just back it up over to O'Malley. O'Malley will get another big booter into the Stony Brook zone. But then Towie is able to get right near there. And then Vawinko goes right over to Towie again where he heads it. And goes to the far left side of midfield where Salmon is working it inside. There are 3 Seawolves to beat. He gets it right through there easily. Of course, with all the room in the field, you know that won't be a problem. Sorinelli going over to the far right now. He finds Mason. Mason to his right for Strongen. Strongen keeping possession of it. Goes over to his back for Sorinelli. Sorinelli, will he try a kick? He will, but it'll go far left and interceded by Towie. Towie getting it over to Blaze. We'll see if Stony Brook now has a chance here to try and get some action in the Hofstra zone. And trying to get a pass over to Towie. It's moving away, but Towie's still able to keep it there for a little while. And now Hofstra will try and field it. Trying to work on a little swoop in. Close to Fernandez. And almost right there for Kavic. And it looks like one of the Pride players is down. That is Sorinelli, who is still down. Salmon tending to him. See whether or not we get a training staff. It doesn't look like we will. As long as Sorinelli is able to get up. He's hobbling a little bit. He's able to get back up on his feet. It's pretty close to an incidental contact. But it looks like the ref said that it was Stony Brook who initiated that contact. So, free kick for Tadafu. He'll go to the right for O'Malley. O'Malley, almost all about Mason. He'll cut it inside to Strongen. Strongen going back over to Mason. Mason back in Hofstra zone. Going back to O'Malley. He'll go to his left for Tadafu. He's wide open. See whether or not he tries a free kick of his own. He'll just go to the right for O'Malley. O'Malley, will he go for a free kick? He'll do it right from midfield, going far left. And it's headed by Towie. Towie inside their own zone. It's picked up by Vawinko. Vawinko over to the back to Tadafu on the far left side, the 30-yard line. He still sticks with it right at midfield. 38-28 to go in the second half. Hofstra leading the Seawolves 1-0 here at LaValle Stadium. Zach Wilson giving you Stony Brook men's soccer action live on 90.1 FM WUSB Stony Brook. George O'Malley has it at midfield along the right side. He's trying to keep it there. John Espikas nearly tried to hick him up, but Francisco Serenelli goes over to the left for Salmon. On the far left side, Corey Cupid tried to field it, but it goes back over to Tadafu at midfield. Tadafu, he'll go over to his right to O'Malley. O'Malley kicking it inside, looking to find one of his teammates in there. When the Seal was trying to push something there, looks like some contact between Karls and Kavic. And we have, when the Seal was able to kick it away, that's Bickes, and he tried to find another one of his teammates again, but it goes right back over to Hofstra. O'Malley finding Serenelli. He'll go over to his right for Mason. Mason in front of him. He'll go to his left for Ramirez. Along the far right side still. Kovic tailing him, and he trips him. And Ramirez is still down. All this tripping, you better believe it or not, it will definitely lead to injuries, and that is exactly what is going on right now with Ramirez. He is still down and slow to get up.
Yellow card assessed to Stony Brook, number 23.
So a little bit of a hiccup right there for Kovic. He's calling for the yellow card and the tripping. It looked like there was about to be a substitution, but at the last second it was held off. Ryan Carmichael was about to sub in for Ramirez, but he'll hold off for the time being. So Strong in from the right side, from the far right side of the field, will work with a free kick. Gets the whistle and the green light. Kick it right to the net, and then kicked away by Fernandez. Fernandez trying to get it all right to Burgesson. Burgesson and Strong in, both number 7s trying to play the battle. And the ball, and refs wave up the flag. And it'll be on Hofstra. It'll go back to Stony Brook. Burgesson will get the inbound over to Alvarado. And another flag raised up. It'll go the other way. Looked pretty clean. Rest saw something on the far side that we probably didn't from here up in the press box. The Hofstra will field it back into their own zone cleanly. Tadafu with it. With O'Malley to his right. Tadafu trying to get inside. Cameron Blaze nearly intercepted it, but Tadafu able to work again with control. Gets a cut inside over to number 11 again, Hebecker. And we have a little pushing, but no foul is called. Stony Brook with possession, trying to get out of their own zone. He finds Cameron Blaze. Blaze tried to get a kick on it, but it didn't go the way he wanted to. And Hofstra still with it. They're working now something. Rock Carls going along the far right side. He's trying to find Vawinko, and it looked like he almost had a chance to try breakaway, but offside's called. He was just far inside, not with the ball. When you're closer to your opponent's goalie than the ball is to you, and that's where it leads to. So meanwhile, Stony Brook still trying to play with the ball. Hofstra has control of it. Hebecker gets it back over to Tadafu. Tadafu and O'Malley trying to work on a defensive combination. Stony Brook has yet to get much action on their opponent's territory here in the second half. Serenelli back out over the Mason right side. But he couldn't save it from going out of bounds, so they'll quickly work with an inbound here. Will Stony Brook. Solvason trying to work something quickly against O'Malley. We'll see if he can try and get a kick. He will. He goes right over to Blaze. Blaze trying to go for the kick, and it is right in front of Spiel. Quick thinking inbound pass by the Seawolves there, because they were able to nearly catch Hofstra sleeping. Almost had a chance to try and get a goal. That would have been an equalizer. But instead, Spiel able to make a big save, try and keep Hofstra with the lead. Spiel will work with a long goal kick. Haven't really seen much out of that from him today. And meanwhile, the ball still being played in the Stony Brook in the Hofstra zone, and it goes off of the left hand of Bickus. But Bickus does not agree with that. He's saying that he may have been contacted. Well, look, I don't know if it actually was a hand pass. May have been the one to initiate contact still. Either way, Hofstra will have it. 34.5 minutes to go in the second half. Pride maintaining a 1-0 lead off the penalty kick goal from Stefan Mason. Spiel, another goal kick, deep in Stony Brook zone, a good one. It goes right to one of the Pride players and then back over to Stony Brook, going back into the Hofstra zone, where Spiel will wave everybody off, where he'll pick the ball up himself. Playing around with it. He'll kick it back into the Stony Brook zone again. Vawinko was really close, but then Corey Cupid able to get away from Jason Ramirez, who almost had a chance for a breakaway. He finds the left to Solvason, goes over to Fernandez. Fernandez trying to work within the Hofstra zone. About to get triple team, trying to find a kick, and it gets off the head of one of the Pride players. Trying to back up Kovic. Right near Fernandez. Strong in, trying to keep it. But he doesn't keep it from going out of bounds. Stony Brook will get the inbound in the Hofstra zone. We'll see whether or not this gives them the opportunity to try and get some more plays down offensively. A nice little booter over to, and they're trying to get a long kick. It goes right off the right side of the upright. Well, I see you're trying to make a field goal kick there, buddy, but get more down low towards the net. Goal kick now upcoming again for the Pride. Spiel getting ready for it. Working with booming kicks so far. This one does get right to midfield. Headed by Habecker, then kicked away by Alvarado. Ball is up in the air at midfield. It goes right to Corey Cupid. There was incidental contact, and then eventually they're calling the whistle on Stony Brook. That was late. Anatol's not happy about that one either. I'm not really sure what that was all about right there, because that call may have been called like a second or two afterwards. A Ken contact, and now Hofstra is the one who's furious. And we have a whistle. More pushing and shoving here. I don't know if this is going to turn into something. Could this turn into a fight? And Stony Brook and Hofstra residing from the same island. Whatever it was, the ball went out of bounds. It was last touched by Stony Brook. So Hofstra will work with the inbound pass. It'll be Salmon that will do so.
Hofstra substitution. Number 18, Trevor Harrison, in for...
So as the clock continues to wind down beyond 32 minutes, Hofstra still up 1-0.
Number 18, Ryan Carmichael, in for number 7, Storm Strongen.
So you hear that right there. Carmichael coming in for Strongen. As the ball with the inbound, Corey Cupid to his left for Purchison. Cupid back with it. They'll get right into the middle for Fernandez. Stony Brook's playing defense of their own. It looks like it'll go cleanly over to the right, finding Towie. That'll allow Stony Brook to play within Hofstra's zone. Towie trying to use his speed. He fell down, and that has to be a whistle. Foul on Hofstra. Right near the penalty area. Towie using a lot of his speed, and that foul's going to be on number 11, Habecker. So it'll be a free kick for Purchison from the right corner of the penalty.
Hofstra, number 11, Hendrik Habecker.
And now it's Hofstra that has a yellow card culprit too. Both sides now assess the yellow card here in the second half. Hofstra getting that goal in the first half, and now we've seen a little more action from both sides. And Burgess will get himself ready now with a free kick. See if he can try and get it far into the net that can lead to an equalizer. He gets set. His teammates in motion, trying to kick it, and it goes far up high over the net. Probably expecting one of his teammates to try to make a header to redirect it into the net. Didn't get where he wanted it to, so it'll be a goal kick for the Pride. 30:56 to go in the second half. Pride still leads the Seawolves 1-0. Both these teams looking for their second win of the season, while forcing the other to go to 1-1. This series has been nearly evened up. Hofstra just barely owning it, 7-6-2. Two ties between these two teams in Division 1. Hofstra with 7 wins and 6 losses. Nice goal kick. It goes right to Corey Cupid and then right over to Alvarado. Alvarado got tripped. No foul was called. Actually, it was Kovic. Kovic and Alvarado, you gotta understand that. Meanwhile, the right side far into Stony Brook territory. Jason Ramirez trying to work it against Burgesson. Ramirez still working with control along the right corner. Gets it to the back to Mason. Mason trying to work on somewhat similar free kick. And looked like it went off the hand of number 10, Carlos, but no foul was no handball was called. Either way, Stony Brook's trying to maintain control, and eventually leads to a Hofstra penalty. And it looks like I think it looked like Pickus may have pushed Tadafu. Don't want to do that. It's like I said, this second half starting to get a little more aggressive. Really a nearly good header. As Kovic trying to field it in Hofstra's zone. Right over to the left side is Burgesson. Burgesson trying to keep it. Trying to work it inside. Nice clean cut over to Fernandez. Fernandez to the far left gets to Cupid. Cupid trying to settle it up. Getting out of the triple team. Goes to the back for Burgesson. This is the type of play Stony Brook needs to play on with the offense. It gets it over to the back. Corey Cupid with it. In midfield, still in Hofstra zone. See if he works a kick of his own. Getting a right inside, trying to find Cameron Blaze. But it was just a little far away from it. Couldn't get a foot on that one. It'll go out of bounds. Goal kick. Well, these are more of the plays that Seawolves need to be making if they want to work on being able to try and get far enough to win this game. Or even make this hard enough so they can keep themselves in it. I mean, they still are. They're only down by 1. And anything can happen. So Spiel gets the goal kick. It's going far enough right to midfield. Headed by Cupid. And right over to Mason. He'll work it from the right side. Finds Ramirez. Ramirez, who's been really tough with his speed so far today. Outmatching Burgesson. Both players falling down. Burgesson fell first, causing Ramirez to in the foul. Well, it's just been really tough to stop Jason Ramirez today. And Gabe Fernandez is looking for an explanation.
Number 7, Trusty Burgesson.
Now it's Burgesson who is called for the yellow card too. You don't want to get too many of those happening. So from the right corner of the penalty box, outside, it'll be a free kick for the Pride. Stefan Mason will do so. Fernandez was looking for an explanation from the refs on why his teammate was called for that. I mean, he fell down. He may have dragged one of those Pride players with him. May have brought down Ramirez, but I mean, people can probably try and speculate why that is what it is. Mason gets ready now for the free kick. Trying to make it a 2-0 lead for the Pride. Trying to start make this game go open. Gets a nice kick. And then quickly stopped by one of the Seawolves. That looked like that was Alvarado. And now Ramirez will get it from the left corner. Playing nice keep away. Towie trying to challenge him. And it goes right to Hebecker. And it goes all out of bounds. Last touched by Towie. Stays with Hofstra. It looks like Towie may have had a little problem with his left shoe. So he tried to pick it up as ball was going out of bounds. So it'll be an inbound pass coming up. Pride getting settled here. Shane Salmon with the inbound right near the net, off the head of Kovic, then off the head of Serenelli, and it goes right to Cupid, who will get it completely down the ground. He fell down, no whistle, and the ball goes out of bounds right at the Stony Brook sideline. Back to Hofstra it goes. 27.5 minutes left to go. Hofstra still up 1-0. Actually, Stony Brook that has possession of the ball. Hofstra may have had a little contact with them. That's probably why. Meanwhile, they're starting to get it good into Hofstra zone. Burgesson working it from the left side, trying to use his speed against Mason. It goes right to him and trying to work it. Ball goes out of bounds. Burgesson was called the last to touch it. It'll be a goal kick again.
Stony Brook substitution. Number 9, Cameron Bonfie. And for number 12, Cameron Blaze.
So a switch of Camerons on the Stony Brook side. Bonfie's coming in for Blaze. We'll see if that changes anything up for Bonfie's. He's a senior, had 4 starts in 8 games in the spring. Spiel getting a good goal kick again into Stony Brook territory, headed by Cupid well, trying to be fielded by Silvason. And Silvason trying to get a handle on the ball, but it goes out of bounds in front of him. Now Hofstra will have a substitution.
Hofstra substitution. Number 3, Lorenzo Cellini. In for number 10, Rock Carles.
And immediately after that, we had a penalty on the foul against the Pride, so Stony Brook will have it. They're going to work with it quickly here. Only 26 minutes to go to try and get a goal and even this game up. A deeper goes far right over to Silvason. Trying to keep it from going out of bounds. He's able to do so. Good work on him. He'll go right over to Towie. Towie trying to kick it inside inside the penalty area. And it goes sky high right near the Stony Brook sideline. In contact. And Fernandez, here we go with the whistle. Ref's blowing it off. Looks like one of the Seawolves is down. We have a yellow card. One of the Seawolves was pushing.
Yellow card assessed to Hofstra, number 3, Lorenzo Cellini.
So Solini is called for that yellow card. Fernandez was injured, but he immediately comes back up. And Hofstra is arguing with that call too. And back to the equalizer in yellow cards at 2 apiece. Tadafu and Mason arguing with the refs over that. Clock stops at 25:34. It'll be Burgesson. They'll work with a free kick from right in front of his sideline, of his team's bench. We'll see whether or not he tries to go with a deep kick right into the penalty area. That is that, or he goes with a similar one. He will go with it. It goes right instead to Hofstra. It goes far out to Towie. And the closest Hofstra player there is Ramirez, but Towie will get it back into the Hofstra zone. Trying to play with it. Stony Brook using their speed here seems to be helping them. Trying to beat it out before it gets out of bounds and cannot do so. Just a little too much boot of the ball is not what Stony Brook wanted with that play. Another goal kick. I don't know what to say. I mean, you got to try and find something better to do with these goal kicks. Or when you play inside and hit it. Looks like one of the Steelers was able to do something. That was Bonfius that was able to keep it in the Hofstra zone. And so Boston was nearly there to try and make a shot on goal, but it goes right over to number 3. And then, off the Steelers again, another one goes out of bounds. Right on the left side of the net. I think that play right after the goal kick by Spiel was pretty much luck for Stony Brook. They're really close to trying to capitalize off of it. They could have caught Hofstra snapping. But Spiel's not going to take any chances. He'll just probably do what he usually does. Goal kick going deep. He'll go that deep. Right to midfield. Cupid with a nice header again. Bicker's trying to field it. He'll get it over to the back for Bonfies. Bonfies working it from the left side. Might try to free kick it. He'll eventually work on that. He'll get his stir. And right in here, Bickus, but could not beat out Spiel. Another very close call. You just want to be at the right place at the right time. It's very tough for Stony Brook to try and get past him so far today. He has picked up 2 saves. Looks like he was thinking about trying to do the free kick again. Looks like one of the Seawolves was threatening those Bonfies, forcing Spiel to kick it far again. Goes right to midfield and headed well by Bickus. Bickus will have possession of the ball at midfield, trying to keep it in the Hofstra zone. He'll put it back into the Stony Brook zone momentarily. And now Towie has it. Towie getting it right over to Fernandez. Fernandez trying to find a work inside. He does so from the left side. And going over to Mason. Mason tried to keep it in play. Bonfies was actually the one there, but couldn't get the kick he wanted to keep it in the field of play. 23 minutes left to go. Hofstra still up over Stony Brook 1-0.
Lorenzo Cellini.
Stony Brook starting to gain some points, being able to make some plays in the Hofstra zone lately, but they need to find a goal to cap it off. All that time, and you want to try something with it. I wonder if we'll probably take another late game heroic from probably somebody other than Jonas Bickus. Stony Brook rather try and get something going with their offense out of the blue. Speaking of blue, it's Hofstra with possession. And it's a work for it. Corey Cupid is able to get it there and finds the Sea of Seawolves. Working with it now deep into the Hofstra zone. It's Bonfies from the left side. He's trying to get it over to Bickus, and it goes off. But then again, and a kick, and it is out of bounds, far right. Another close opportunity for Stony Brook. Couldn't be as quick as it is. Bonfies is working from the left side. That's probably something that Anatol should probably stick with more often. Meanwhile, Becker against Towie. It goes out of bounds and off of Stony Brook. And I don't think Towie was happy with that call because he was forced out of bounds. That should be a corner kick for Stony Brook. Even seeing one of our own, Sasha Provadas, holding his head, seeing how incredibly close Stony Brook was to being able to tie the game. Meanwhile, Wessel Spiel getting ready for another goal kick. He gets himself set now from the left side of the net. Nice booter. Getting right to midfield. And the header by Bowinkle. Hofstra trying to work with it now as they get into the Stony Brook zone. They'll have a chance to work with it offensively. Shane Salmon, they'll just back it up. Instead, Stony Brook will have it. Alvarado kicking it right over to Kovic. Kovic trying to get a kick on it. He falls down. Maybe contacted, and he's not happy with no foul. Serenelli gets it to the left now for Hebecker. Hebecker working it. And Towie was able to use his feet to try and move on it good. And it goes right over to... And it just missed the net from the right side. That was a goal. Kovic would have been furious. Wanted to see what fell down as well. Hofstra made whether or not it's anybody's guess whether or not Hofstra's playing dirty. Well, it goes back into the Hofstra zone. O'Malley able to keep with it. Wasn't his name not really called afterwards for a little while. But Fernandez able to get a good kick on it to keep it in the Hofstra zone. He's playing nice offense so far. And we have incidental contact. Goes out of bounds right into the bleachers. And was off of Mason Talafu. 20 minutes left to go now. See whether or not Stony Brook's starting to get dire for Stony Brook to try and get themselves back in this game. They've had some opportunities so far to do so, but need to finish it off. Like the one incredibly close call before. Towie gets the inbound to Fernandez, and it goes off of Hebecker. Stony Brook still has it. Another inbound in the Hofstra zone to Fernandez. Fernandez trying to field with it well. It get kicked out of bounds again off of number 6 for the Pride, Joe Wright. So Towie will do the inbound again. Take 3, I believe. Right goes right to Corey Cupid, trying to get a kicker, but I don't know what he was thinking with that left side. Goes out of bounds, another goal kick. I don't know if Ryan Anatol is really happy about Stony Brook committing all of these goal kicks so far. With all the time that they have in the Hofstra zone, they need to do better with it.
Carles in for number 11, Hendrik Hebecker.
So Carls comes back in for Hebecker. We'll see whether or not that switches things up. What Hofstra was doing good before was being able to make some plays, staying on offense as long as possible. But now Stony Brook is the one that's been working on it better. So the ball goes out of bounds again. On the far right side. Goes back to Stony Brook. The far side of the field. Inbound pass right at midfield. Towie tried to get there. He had a kick on it. It goes out of bounds. Looked like some tripping, but it was incidental. Stony Brook probably a little more thankful that won't be a free kick. Here comes another inbound, getting a little closer inside Stony Brook territory. Winkle over to the right now for Mason. Right near Ramirez, but intercepted by Cupid. Getting a kicker right at midfield. And it goes right near there. Self Austin actually trying to chase it down. Go far near the sidelines to Salmon. Salmon kicking it over to 18. He'll get it over to Serenelli. Serenelli having Stony Brook get with it now. But it goes right over to Carmichael. Carmichael trying to work with the footwork. And it just misses far right, trying to take a shot. Kaiser was diving for it. But he should be thankful that it didn't go that close enough. It looks like it's the Pride starting to get some more offense once again. Stony Brook wants to get back the time that they had in the Hofstra zone. Talia looks like they have a chance to do so. And he fell down, may have been tripped. Then incidental probably on the other end, and Hofstra and Serenelli tripped. We're just continuing to get a lot more questionable calls here. So play will happen as it stood before. Ball going out of bounds, last touch by the Pride. And they get a header now. Fernandez trying to work with it. One head after the other. Fernandez the last one. Bonfils trying to get it inside over to Bickus. Bickus working it from the right side. Getting it right near the net along the right side of the penalty box. It's up against Tadafu. Bickus trying to play with it. Kept it from going out of bounds. Kicking it left side. It goes out back over to 18. They tried to get a kick once again, but it just goes out, just back to the Pride. Vawinkle may have been tripped, and it goes off of him. That's what the ref said, but now another ref is overruling him, saying it was off of Stony Brook. Salmon will have it. 16.5 minutes to go in the second half. Hofstra leads to Seawolves 1-0. Stony Brook still trailing in this game, has yet to secure a goal. Not the type of productive offense they want, but a lot of opportunities so far. Corey Cupid getting a header back into the Hofstra zone. but it just goes out of bounds along the 30-yard line. So we're having some more whistles called here. Tension's starting to get a little high on both sides, it would seem. So it looks like Salmon will finally get that inbound pass. And a header by Fernandez. Trying to be fielded by Bickus. It goes right over to Kovic. And really close for Salvason to try and get a goal. But Spiel will pick it up right in front of him. I hope that's not taunting on Spiel. That could lead to some sort of unsportsmanlike card. Meanwhile, Hofstra able to field it right into the Stony Brook zone. And goes right over to Carmichael. Carmichael to Vowinkle. Vowinkle back to Carls, but it goes right to Stony Brook on the left side is Burgesson. Burgesson, he'll work with his fielding. Trying to get a kick right there, but it's kicked out of bounds by Mason at midfield. So we approach the 15-minute mark. Seawolves are still trailing the Pride 1-0. Trying to find a way to get back into this game and probably even force overtime if they had the ability to do so. And along the far side, right near the sideline, Sean Towie has it. Towie trying to use his speed. Really pushed by Carmichael. Going forward inside. And it goes right over to Spiel. He'll just kick it away. And the header getting set now by Fernandez. And then headed away by Tadafu. Right into the Stony Brook zone. Alvarado right to Cupid. Cupid trying to work it. He just got grabbed. And that's a foul. But Corey Cupid is having a little extra words with the refs. He's probably calling for a yellow card of some sort. Looked like his arm was being grabbed. Replay shown, and it is possible. Meanwhile, Gabe Fernandez gets set inside, finding it right over to Towie. He's able to keep it inside. Towie finding over to Bonfils, but then kicked out of bounds right near the right corner was Joe Wright. Stony Brook will keep it. So they use this opportunity right here to try and get a goal. They are close to it. They need to find some good kicks right in front of the net. You don't want any plays going out of bounds. Towie trying to get the header. You get it over in front. Outside. Now going inside. It looks like set up now is Kovic to kick it. He'll field it. Getting right over to Cupid. Cupid trying to settle it up. He gets it to the right for Kovic. Kovic moving to his left now. Going far over to Burgesson. Burgesson will see if he does a little kick of his own. No, he'll just kick it to his right cleanly to Kovic. Kovic back to his left, to far left now to Burgesson. Will kick it right to the net. And going inside. Catch made by Spiel. Trying to see a play here, so it was very hard to see what was happening, but that only took 1 second for us here to figure out what it looked like. What another big save right there by Spiel. He'll kick it away. Deep into the Stony Brook zone. Headed away by Alvarado. And Salmon just chasing it away. Now you get Serenelli. He's able to keep it in the Stony Brook zone. It looks like he'll just keep it deep enough. Stony Brook will kick it. Now Fernandez along the sideline. He's able to keep it. Seawolves working with the kick. And then he'll just kick it out of bounds. 12:38 left to go. Substitutions.
Number 19, Loretas Hiftfeld Rabeck. And for number 10, Rock Carles. And substitution for the Stony Brook Seawolves. Number 22, Jordan Riley. And for number 25, Sean Towie.
So that's your substitutions now as we approach the 12-minute mark of the second half. The inbound from Salmon. Hofstra still keeping possession of it. Looks like they have a chance here. Ryan Carmichael kicking over to the right to Mason. And almost kicked away by Burgesson. Carmichael getting it away. Mason may work with him on the right side. And it goes kicked out of bounds by Cupid. A little hand there by Kaiser on his teammate.
Corner kick.
I think that was the best case scenario right there for the Seawolves, being able to keep it from being a potential goal opportunity for the Pride again. So from the left corner, it'll be another Hofstra corner kick. Haven't seen those in a little while. Pretty even with the shots so far between the Pride and the Seawolves. Hofstra just barely owns it 7-6. Meanwhile, both teams are tied for shots on goals, 2-2. 1-2, Hofstra is able to convert on, none to 2. That Stony Brook has been able to capitalize on yet. Ramirez will kick it. Going far right. Right over to one of the Pride players. Kicked over to the left. Being chased down. When the Seawolves fell down, Ramirez letting it go out of bounds. He's confused that it's called off of him, it would seem. So Stony Brook will have it. Now at the 11-minute mark. Spiel's going to pick it up. See if he's going to probably throw or kick. He looks like he'll get ready to kick it from the left corner of the penalty box. He'll get a good boot deep into the Hofstra territory. He's getting ready for it. Then kick still into Stony Brook territory. Now it's Burgesson kicking it to his right for Fernandez. Fernandez will get it to his right, being able to find Riley. It goes off of Carmichael. Carmichael getting it over to 19. Trying to use his speed to get there, but Corey Cupid slows it down. So Boston near there. Back over to Serenelli. Serenelli over to the far right. He'll go. He'll find Mason. Backing up now, Hofstra will defensively. And stolen away nearly it's Kovic. He'll have possession of the ball. See if Stony Brook, this will give Stony Brook a chance to work something on offense. They'll have to work on it very quickly. And it goes right up to Bonfils, but it goes out of bounds and off of the Seawolves. We're under 10 minutes to go now, where the Pride still leaves the Seawolves 1-0 off the penalty kick from Stefan Mason and drawn by Jason Ramirez. Carmichael with the ball. He'll use the speed to try and get it far enough to Salmon. Salmon working from the left side of the penalty area. Trying to get a kick, but it just goes off of the left upright and out of bounds. It'll be a goal kick for Stony Brook. We'll see whether or not Stony Brook tries to move it quickly here, because time is starting to wind down. And they don't want to lose at home here in front of a home crowd. Their next home game will be on the 6th, next Monday, against the Columbia Lions, who the women's soccer team just finished playing yesterday against, getting that 1-0 win thanks to Alyssa Francis from Chelsea DuPont and Carrie Pearson. Jace Ramirez working it deep in Stony Brook zone from the right side of the penalty area, trying to kick it to get it in bounds to Volwinkle, and he almost had a chance to get a kick, but it wasn't clean enough. It just goes far left now to Carmichael. Carmichael with his free kick, trying to get a header over to one of his teammates to Volwinkle again, but it just misses the net. Two missed opportunities for Volwinkle. He is furious with himself.
Number 12, Cameron Blaze. And for number 23, Selkuk Kavici.
So a goal kick for Kaiser. He'll just kick it cleanly over to his left, finding out Varane. No, he'll get a nice one into Hofstra territory and right over to Spiel immediately. And Corey Cupid stopping right in front of Spiel before he goes right into him. You don't want to hit goalies like that even after they catch the ball. Believe me, I know that from personal experience. Meanwhile, ball's being played in Stony Brook zone. Gabe Fernandez trying to get a handle on it, but Volwinkle giving it over to his teammates. And a little fall down from both sides. Burgesson getting it away right in here in midfield, but then picked up immediately by Serenelli. Serenelli with the long kick, and right to the net it goes to Kaiser. Kaiser, he'll work a kick from the left foot, working it deep into the Hofstra zone, headed by Salmon. Jordan Riley near there. There you go for Cameron Blaze. Going right to midfield. It's a foot race now as Rabic. Rabic with the possession of the ball, trying to fight off against Riley. And we have another whistle called. Whatever it is, it looks like it's on Stony Brook. So Solvaston getting it over to Blaze. He was hit. Looks like he may have been contacted. Another whistle, maybe? Either way, Stony Brook still has it. Corey Cupid, a ref was in his way, and he's not happy. It looks like this will be a chance. Joe Wright working it from the right side to Jason Ramirez. Ramirez working it quickly, trying to get it there, and just missed Kaiser and missed the net going far left. Well, the ref being in the way, that's going to cause a lot of problems.
Hofstra substitution. Number 2, Holger Mallow. In for number 17, Jason Ramirez. And number 20, Pierce Infuso. In for number 21, Matthew Valwinkle.
So you hear that duo of substitution for the Pride. 6:36 left to go in the second half. Hofstra still with the 1-0 lead. Stony Brook trying to get more possessions offensively to try and get the equalizer. And it's headed deep out of bounds in Stony Brook in Hofstra territory by Infuso. Jordan Riley will kick it. Gets it over to Bickus. And right in front now is Solvesan. It gets it right to the left to number 7. He's trying to work on a kick. Still working with possession. He has a good one. Trying to get an insider, but he cannot get it to Blaze. These are pretty much being messed up plays that these Seawolves cannot afford. They can't keep working with these goal kicks. They need to work on better communication, better chemistry, and being able to sense what their opponent's going to do and understand each other as teammates. Recognize each other as a team. There may be an I in the word win, but there is none in the word team. The goal kick from Wiesel goes right to Fernandez, then it goes right over to Fuso. Carmichael has it. It goes right out of bounds. Jordan Riley will look to try and save it, and he does. And it goes right into the Hofstra zone. It looks like Blaze was trying to get there too. It's actually Bickus. Goes right to midfield. It then goes right to Rabic. But then picked up immediately by Riley. And Jordan Riley's trying to work with some footwork too here, getting closer to the net. Goes right over to Blaze. I don't know if he was expecting that. Loses possession of it. It's kicked out of bounds by the Pride. And we're under 5 minutes to go. Could be a little gut-wrenching right here. Cameron Blaze right over to Bonfils. Bonfils tried to get a kick and was deflected. He tries it again and get another deflection to Fernandez. To his left for Burgesson. Burgesson going right to the left. And it's headed by the Pride. Then fielded, trying to be Corey Cupid. And then we have a whistle, a foul called on Stony Brook. Bench, fans, not happy. And I get that call. Corey Cupid was responsible for initiating contact, it would seem, on Rabic. That's not what you want with this much time left. You can't afford any ill mistakes. Ill-made moves at the very least. So Spiel will take it out. He'll prepare to kick it right at the 19-yard line, it would seem. Right after this, they will continue their 4-game road trip to begin the season at Brookville, taking on the LIU Sharks. We'll see how they fare up against them, as Stony Brook did with their 1-0 win here at LaValle on Thursday. Balls in Stony Brook zone. Corey Cupid getting right over for Fernandez, but right back to Carmichael in the back, right to the Burgesson in the left. He'll try and get into the Hofstra zone. He got tripped right here midfield, and there we have it with a tripping call too. And a yellow card at that as well. So add a little more help for Stony Brook here with just 4 minutes left to go. The clock stops at 4:09. Imagine things getting real dicey here late in the second half between these two foes whose rivalry is one of the best we've ever seen here on the island. Or probably in the state of New York. Can you name any other college rivalry in the state of New York that is bigger than this between Stony Brook and Hofstra? Maybe Stony Brook and Albany because it's a little more. Meanwhile, the free kick, trying to go over to Bickus. It goes right in front, and we have another whistle called. They're calling offsides. That ball was right in front of the net. Another ill-made move on Stony Brook's end. The clock continues to wind down. They can't afford to be having any of these plays called back on them, especially when they're deep in their opponent's zone. Spiel with the goal kick, going deep, going right into the Stony Brook zone. Headed well by Riley. And he'll work with it cleanly, trying to keep with it in the Hofstra zone. And a whistle. It looks like the ball went out of bounds. Riley could not save that one. See which more it does. Jordan Riley, the freshman from Trinidad. The inbounds right in the Stony Brook zone. Being cleaned up. Number 19 is able to get his hands on that. Goes right deep into the Stony Brook zone. Sewell's trying to get it out of there. Corey Cupid gets a good handle with his feet. Trying to maintain his possession with it as much as he can. Going right over the Solvesan. Going far right. Almost had a chance to get there, but the ball was not where he wanted it to be. Trying to get a bit of a kick on the Bonfils. And he headed it. But right through the uprights. Not the right sport, Cameron. You got to go towards the net. These opportunities for the Seawolves. Getting far as much as they can. But you need your head. But like I said, head needs to be at the right angle if you want to get it past the goalie and right into the right type of posts. I'm not talking about the uprights in football. In American football, we're talking about soccer. From the left side, it will be a goal kick for Spiel. Spiel will kick it. It won't be far enough. He'll actually go out of bounds. It'll stay in the Hofstra zone. So Riley will go with a quick inbound, trying to catch Hofstra off guard. And Sylvason was right near there. Joe Wright will just kick it out of bounds. Riley again with the inbounds. We are at 2 minutes. Ball in the dead area. And nearly Corey Cupid had there. And Ryan Carmichael is going to take it away. And that's probably going to kill some time. Carmichael going into the Stony Brook zone. He's keeping with it. May want to milk the clock here. Trying to keep it out of bounds. Almost went out. But is able to stay in, looks like, by Roshek. Another whistle, and looks like this will be on Stony Brook. It's starting to become a critical issue now for the Seawolves. They're starting to lose time. Salmon with the inbound over to Marinelli. Goes out of bounds again and off of Stony Brook. Stony Brook and Hofstra is just taking their time. Salmon will do it from the left corner. Not a corner kick, just an inbound pass right in here to the left side of the left corner. Salmon loses possession of the ball. It goes
1 minute remaining in the game.
from the right side of the corner, so it will be a goal kick. And Stony Brook's going to have to do this quickly here. They are less than a minute away from falling for the first time this season. Kovic will get a good kick into the Hofstra zone and headed away by 20. And a nice one by Purchison, but he is called for the whistle. Is calling for an explanation. It's all about desperation here. That's not the type of desperation you want. So should the score pan out, Hofstra will move to 2-0. Stony Brook will fall to 1-1. What will be the answer? What will be the thing for Stony Brook here is that offense needs to do a better job with the plays they make deep in their own zone. They've had those opportunities so far today, but having them go out of bounds on miscommunications is going to be the one thing that kills them. Not to mention that the penalty that they were called on, drawn by Jason Ramirez, that led to the Stefan Mason penalty kick. They're taking their time, but it doesn't matter because the clock stopped at 36. And a nice booter deep into Stony Brook zone. Going to be picked up. Alvarado is able to kick it, and that will just go out of bounds. That might be the final punchline as we're under 30 seconds. So a hard-fought game right until like the last minutes of the first half, when Hofstra was able to get what it looks like going to be the game winner. Hofstra's going to get the inbounder. He's taking his time. Fortunately, is allowed to do that. With the inbound deep into Stony Brook zone. And that will be where it is. Kaiser just going to go with his kick, and it won't matter. As this game is now officially over, Hofstra defeats Stony Brook 1-0 in a hard-fought battle between these cross-island rivals. Stefan Mason being able to capitalize on that penalty on Stony Brook that was inside the penalty area, leading to that penalty kick. He was able to get it past Edmond Kaiser.
Be sure to head back to Kenneth P. LaValle
Hofstra
on Labor Day, Monday,
winning and advancing to 2-0 on the year. While Stony Brook, they lose their first game of the season at home in front of the home fans. Stony Brook working really hard against the Pride today probably indicates that this could be a better season for them than they anticipated. However, offense was pretty much ill at this point, as the Pride has yet to give up a single goal to any one of their opponents so far this year. So, with our final stats, that penalty kick was not assisted in any way. It was a narrow battle in shots, Hofstra slightly owning it 10-9. Shots on goal, Hofstra owned that one 3-2. More corner kicks for the Pride than the Seawolves, 7-2. None had red cards. Hofstra had 3 yellow cards, but Stony Brook only had 2. 27 total fouls. Stony Brook had more, 14-13. 2 saves for both sides. Kaiser with the 2. Spiel also with the 2. Stefan Mason getting that goal while getting a shot on goal as well. Yellow cards called him Becker while he also got a shot. And the same goes for Ryan Carmichael getting a shot on goal as well. Yeah, 3 shots on goal today for the Pride. And 2 of the 3 that didn't go in were from Bowinkle and Ramirez. Probably why Bowinkle thought about shooting himself, felt like was pretty much shooting himself in the foot midway through the second half when he was pretty frustrated how he could not connect at any one of those shots. A full 90 minutes for Spiel. Of course, he's a goalie. The full 90 for O'Malley, Mason, Talafu, Perinelli, and Salmon. Meanwhile, for Stony Brook, the players who played the full 90, along with Kaiser, their goalie, Corey Cupid, Bridgeson, Fernandez, Bickus, Alvarado, Silvason, and Rojek. Stony Brook will have their next game coming up on Friday night. They'll take on the Drexel Dragons of the CAA in Philadelphia. While for the Hofstra Pride, going 2-0 now, they look to make it 3-0, a really nice start to their season. They'll once again stay here on the island, but not at home yet. They will take on the LIU Sharks. The Pride's first home game will not be until September 14th, when they host Stony Brook's other rival from the same conference, the U Albany Great Danes. And their first home conference will be against the Drexel Dragons as well. So, that'll do it from us here from LaValle Stadium. Thank you for listening in to a tough battle. Once again, the final score, Hofstra 1, Stony Brook nothing. Be sure to listen in to us again Thursday from the same venue, but for the football season opener, as the Stony Brook Seawolves will host the New Hampshire Wildcats. Thank you again, once again, for listening in. This is Zach Wilson. Thank you to Matt Mankiewicz in the studio for engineering. Everyone, have a good evening.